Oh, this one can't be missed. How do you step into abundance, success, prosperity, happiness, connection, and purpose? Stay tuned and find out. Coming up on the Fixed Ops Mastermind podcast. Hey, we all know the sponsors keep this podcast coming to you. And what keeps the lights on at your dealership? We all know. Two words ring true for us all in the automotive space: the phones. When we hear these words, we instantly all sigh. Because as much change as our industry has seen, we still get an overwhelming amount of calls. No need to sigh, though. That's where a good BDC comes in handy, doesn't it? I know the team at reconnect personally, and these guys get it. And they can help you build your service BDC. Or use their team to catch the calls you miss from their well-trained team of agents. You can even have them make outbound calls and set new appointments. Give reconnect a call today. As they say, revenue doesn't leave a message at the beep. Everybody here knows that the service department is really the front of the dealership. Dynatron Software Incorporated offers a comprehensive solution for automotive dealership service departments. Dynatron offers dealerships a roadmap to market, merchandise, and measure service departments, leading to better consumer retention and increased profitability. The road to retention provides a roadmap using established programs to provide solutions for problem areas or pain points within a service department. Reach out to Dynatron Software today, dynatronsoftware.com. All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Fixed Ops Mastermind podcast. Today, we have with us all the way from Melbourne, Australia, Rick Michael King. Rick, welcome.
G'day. Hey, Dave. Thank you very much for having me on the podcast. It's great to be here.
It is great meeting you also. We were excited to have you here and explore some things that are definitely considered a little different, especially for people in the automotive world. I know we have plenty of listeners outside the automotive world also, but the majority are service and parts professionals that are listening to us. So you have on your LinkedIn post or LinkedIn whatever that's called profile, there it is, that you are the modern sage, connecting you with your power and potential. Let's tell us a little about yourself and how you wound up where you are right now.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So I've always done this world, modern sage, new age stuff, working with energy, metaphysics, astrology, tarot, everything that's bundled under that world. It's pretty much since I was 19, I got into to this stuff. And it came about through a bit of a troubled childhood. It was actually a mess, really. I lost my mum when I was 12. She passed away, living in a number of different cities, different schools, back and forth between mum and dad, all of that tumultuous kind of stuff. And I needed to find some answers as to what was going on. I tried counseling, and I tried self-help seminars and self-help books. My grandmother even took me to hypnotherapy as well. Nothing really seemed to cut it, though. Nothing really gave me what I needed to know. Then I started delving into, the mystical side, the energetic side, metaphysical side. And I found that astrology, the more and more I got into it, I had a knack for it, but it gave me the answers I needed. So astrology led on to tarot, it led on to energy healing, it led on to a whole array of, weird and wonderful world themes. And that's how I got into it. And so I decided to turn that into a strength and help others.
Yeah, very, very cool. The world that is out there beyond what we can see is absolutely amazing. And when you start to open yourself up to that energy that's there, but because that's all everything is just some form of energy. it is incredible what you can start to find answers to that you've been looking for
Yeah,
all along.
mate,
Um,
absolutely is. Yep.
so with the astrology in particular, what types of things are you doing with that?
Yeah, okay. So it started out just with birth chart readings and doing some future forecasts. I had the privilege of forecasting weekly in a Sydney based publication and then went nationwide. So it started out with forecasts and birth charts, but now it's progressed on to considering the new age that we're moving into and what 2020 has been. It's taken a progression into personal development and soul development. So, not just a matter of reading someone's birth chart or predicting a future, it's about how to work with energy in the coming year, day to day, whether that's work, career, finance, relationships. Yeah, I now started an ascension mentoring program where we have a look at a person's birth chart, which is like a blueprint to their life, and we see what energies are influencing and we see how to work with that coming months and coming years. What's the best time to start a business? What's the best time to end a relationship? All of that kind of stuff. So I'm starting to work it into the mainstream and use it as a performance management, personal development tool.
Very cool. And so you talked about future predictions and things, and I think sometimes people they get that misconception that they're going to come to you, you're going to look at some astrology charts or some tarot cards, and you're going to tell them what the lottery numbers are that they can pick, and whatever that you're going to tell them exactly where to go and stand to meet their perfect mate, and
Yes.
all that kind of stuff, and it's not like that, right? That's not what we're talking about with that kind of stuff.
Not at all. Not at all. Look, there are the practitioners who can help you with that. I'm not one of those. When people come up, I used to do exhibition circuits. So you would have where they would hold stalls and it'd be like a marketplace type of thing. And you'd have people coming to you and asking you, when am I going to get married? And I'm like, all right, well, my first question before I even look at the cards is, are you single? Yes, I'm single. Go away and find someone first, and then we'll talk about marriage. There's some logical steps that need to be taken here. Yeah, so no, I don't have a look at anything like that, meeting perfect mates or winning lottery numbers. This is more my speciality with regards to this is more about your soul development. I am a firm believer in reincarnation. So when you come through your lives, you bring with it lessons and you've got other lessons to learn. And the whole aim of the game is to get to that progression and that end where you can go, right, my soul has learned enough of all it can take, all it needs to learn, and then you return home.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually help people deal with that part, working out karmic debt, and also looking at how to build on themselves and evolve themselves to the next level. So yeah, I kind of leave out the fortune telling stuff and kind of move it on to a bit more advanced work. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's everybody talks about now, finding your passion and going off and doing your passion and things. But there's more to that, right? We all want to find our purpose in life, and be able to expose that and develop that further. And I would hope that most people at the end of their life want to feel like they fulfilled their life and became the best person that they could. So how do you start to uncover that for people to help them find that? I think a lot of people are out there wishing they knew what their purpose was in life, and it might be right in front of them, but they can't see that. How do you help them uncover those things?
Yeah, for sure. So what we look at is a blueprint and a snapshot of where everything was placed from an astrological point of view. And what that tells me is strengths, weaknesses, talents, pathway ahead, where they've come from, what they've carried over. And with all of that information, we put together an energy map. So this energy map shows what this person's true potential is how to tap into that potential. If they've brought over any past life, heavy energy or garbage, how do we remedy that so you can clear it and move on, bigger, better, stronger, and cleaner? So then we look at that and we have a look at what's happening today. So it's kind of like a cake, a layer cake. You've got their birth chart, then you put today's chart over the top, see how the planets are interacting with their natal planets. Then we put the future one over the top of that, and we have a look at where you can build and take advantage of the best energy on offer. So, for example, Mercury retrograde, I think just about everybody knows about a Mercury retrograde, where technology screws up, miscommunications, emails go missing, servers go down. So obviously those periods are good to avoid starting any business and signing any contracts and all that. So we can look at that and tie that in and say, yep, don't act here, definitely act here. And then what we find is people build a proper vibration and a higher vibration where things can come into their life. And this is where we start manifesting and building on the law of attraction. Yeah, so we start at a base and find out who you are at your core, your blueprint, and we build from there and have a look from there.
Awesome. Very cool. And gave us a perfect segue there, as you mentioned, manifestation and the law of attraction, and obviously with the movie The Secret that came out a few years ago, that got a big boost in the world. But again, that's another one of those things that's really misunderstood, right? And people kind of got the idea, whether rightly or wrongly, from watching that movie, that all I have to do is hang a $1 million bill on my ceiling and look at that every single night before I go to bed, and pretty soon I'm going to wake up and it's going to be in my wallet, and it's not. And as David Meltzer says, you have to manifest, but you also have to follow what he calls the law of Goya, which is get off your ass.
I love that.
Yeah. So, how is it that you can help people better understand that? Because it's not just a matter. Manifestation is not just thinking about something and it's going to happen for you.
No, that's exactly right. And what a misconception that is. All of these people, wizard armchair wizards sitting back in an armchair and just wishing for it and thinking, the Lamborghini will arrive in the driveway. No. So the thing about what the movie left out, and no ill word about the movie, it was very entertaining. Mm-hmm. It gave us a few ideas, but what it left out were the secret ingredients, the main ingredients and components. So I help people discover what those ingredients are and how to work with them and factor them in order to bring things into their life. It takes more than thought. It's about belief. And belief is more than thought. Belief is with your entire being. So that's one. The other thing is you've got to be realistic. And I love the law of Goya. That's great. I'm going to remember that forever. But yeah, there are 11 other. Now, it depends on what person you talk to or what school of thought you subscribe to, but there are 11 other universal laws that need to be abided by. The law of attraction is just one. So you can't, employ one law and follow that, break all the other 11, and then think that it's going to work. So I show people how to introduce and work conducively with the other 11 laws. Talk about intent, and we talk about time, and we talk about all of those bits and pieces and getting it straight, first of all, then putting it into action and working with it. Yeah, so we work through that in order to bring things into our life and attract things and manifest.
Yeah, it is certainly powerful, but like you said, it's only one of 11 laws, and you certainly cannot drive down the street and obey only one law, and think that you're going to be okay. It just doesn't work that way. It could definitely get you in a lot of trouble, and like when you're trying to manifest without following the other laws, it's not going to always get you where you want to go.
That's true. And people need to also realize that manifesting works the other way as well. It's not just a positive thing. You worry, and if you're full of fear and if you just focus on that, well, guess what? You're going to manifest that too. Mm-hmm. When it doesn't work for people and they're wondering why, how come the opposite happened? Well, it's because you're stuck in a state of wanting and desperation, and you're staying anchored, and it's not going to work that way either. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that fear and that fear and self-doubt and things can be so powerful in people's lives. And it's funny how people can latch on to that fear and believe that fear with all their heart and soul.
Yes.
But to go the other way and believe that things could be better and things could change and things becomes very, very difficult for somebody to do. And I mean, I guess partly it's the way we're wired as human beings from millions of years of evolving and trying to stay safe, and that's part of it. But you know, at some point you take some responsibility, right, for yourself, and you say, I'm going to change my lot in life, and it's going to require work and effort,
Absolutely.
but I'm willing to do it.
Yeah, Dave, you're so right. Everything else seems wrong. You said that is the best. That is the best way to explain it. You know, we do have to take responsibility and accountability. That's part of the ingredients. We've also got to break conditioning. There's the millions of years of conditioning, but there's also this lifetime conditioning. If your parents weren't that supportive, and they're the main ones that you look to growing up, your formative years, your subconscious is a sponge. And if if you've got it drummed into you enough that you will never amount to anything and you're not going to achieve anything, that sticks with you, and you've got to break that. Yeah, you're right. You've got to really feel that you deserve in order to make some of this stuff happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So how would somebody start to walk toward more abundance in their life, more prosperity and success? Because as we just talked about, there is obviously a lot of fear with people as they try to leave that comfort that they have over here, and they really want to progress and move over here to some more abundance and success and things, but they have to break free from that fear. So how is it that you can help them start to break that bond of fear?
That bond of fear, yeah, there's a couple of different ways. The first one is, let's look at fear and let's look at what it is and let's put it back in its place. So we analyze that. It's a physiological response to external stimuli that appears life-threatening. And I use the example with people of public speaking. People have a fear of public speaking. And I'm like, well, is it going to kill you? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, well, that's all fear is about. It's hard. What fear is a part of us that should never go away because it keeps us alive. Fear stops us from putting our hand in the fire and burning ourselves. It stopped us from jumping in shark-infested waters. You know what I mean? So it should never go away, but we need to control it and be its master rather than let it master us. So it's taking a logical approach to fear to break that bond. One of the other things that I tell people is be open to the possibility of everything. Once you start training your mind to the possibility of everything, then you start opening up to the possibility of everything. I mean, right. If we look over our history, right, artificial intelligence was something in sci-fi movies. Look where we are now. It was only 50 years ago that Francis Crick discovered DNA. We had building blocks, and now it's been discovered that they're not set in stone through the works of Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden and even Louise Hay to a degree. Mm-hmm. We can actually change our DNA. It's not set in stone. So all these things have become possible. Air flight at one time or another, that wasn't possible, but it is. Mm-hmm. Yep. Space travel, whatever we can think of and imagine and be open to the possibility of, we can just about achieve. So I teach people to do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you talk about what we can imagine and open ourselves up to. We can start to achieve. When you start to look at some things that are now reality now, like artificial intelligence. At first, somebody was thinking that up and putting it in old TV shows and movies and stuff, right? And so what created what? was it them kind of thinking about, hey, this could be possible and we'll put this in a movie, and people will be like, oh wow, that's weird, and then 20 years later it's there and they're going, wow. So what was it just not there? Was it already there and this person was exposed to it? And it's all about like we were talking about before the show, and I said I come into these interviews with no expectations.
Mhm.
No preconceived questions, nothing. It's just a conversation. It goes where it goes. It flows where it flows.
Yeah.
And it's that no expectation of living your life, right? If you live your life with a certain expectation, that's probably where you're going to end up.
Yeah.
And if you can live your life with no expectation, then you're open to those possibilities of where it can go and things that could happen.
Yeah, most definitely. I love that. And it's so true. If we lock ourselves in to a particular category or pigeonhole ourselves into a particular box, I can only do this. My culture says I can only do that. This is what's only been possible in our family, through our lineage. If we have that limited thinking, and this is where that unlimited stuff starts to make sense, because people are like, limitless thinking, it's just great and it's awesome. Yeah, but let's break it down. Not confining yourself to particular rules, dogma, standards, and just open yourself up to the fact. Is it possible that aliens exist? Can we fly to Mars and live on Mars? Can I do this? Can I be a rock star? Can I, just let your imagination run wild, because if you can think of it, more than likely you can bring it into fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I to bring this into the automotive service world for a little bit. So this week I was having some discussions with my service advisors, and they have been struggling with CSI, the surveys that customers give back to us.
Yeah.
And everybody's defense mechanism is to come up with some excuses. So COVID has made people very touchy, and so it's harder to get a good survey. And there's all these things. And I said to them, if you walk into each day believing that you're not going to get good CSI scores from these customers that are coming into you, then you will never get good CSI scores from these customers that are coming in front of you. It might have been somebody who would have given you a 5 and you get a 3 because that was the energy that you put forward to them. And that was what you got back, exactly what you put out there. And that's another way of opening yourself up to the possibilities of what can happen. Is just being open to that energy that is out there in the world, and understanding that you do have an effect on how other people will portray back to you.
Yeah, most definitely. When I was training my team, my corporate background is primarily training, coaching, and developing. And it was across several different industries, insurance, finance, not-for-profit, airline. It was a couple of different ones. But the principle remains the same, and a lot of what you were talking about just then. So there is that putting that negative mojo out there, not expecting good results. So therefore you'll bring good results, not good results to yourself.
Right.
And the flip side to that is, though, you can actually exert some influence the other way with regards to that. So if you got given a 5, but you're expecting a 3 and that comes in, you can change that energy to say, right, what can I do better here? Not, okay, a 3. Yep, just going to get another 3 next time and another one after that. It's like, I got a 3. How can I beat myself here? How can I better myself here? And you actually see that chart start to influence the incoming as well, or the result as well. So it's like a double-edged sword. And I did find that a lot of people, they started raising their vibration, which is another buzz statement that goes around, and I can explain what it means. But to help them raise their vibration, that, okay, how can I do better on this? So not dwelling on the negative of the low number, but actually becoming the warrior and going, nah, I will beat this next time. I'm not getting the 3 next time. And why? Because I endeavor to fix this. I endeavor to put that energy out there and go, you know what, next customer's coming in, you're going to be so happy and pleased because I'm on it and I want to do better. Raising your vibration, just quickly to discuss that one. So when people talk about raising our vibration, this is where I like to join science and spirituality, because they're not mutually exclusive. They're two sides of the same coin. So when you've got your particle, when you're heavy and you're negative and you're sad and you're angry and frustrated, you're very dense, and your particles have no space between them to be able to move. So they're all kind of locked in and not moving anywhere. When that happens, there's no energy, there's no spark happening. When you're happy and you're joyful and you're optimistic and looking at things as opportunity rather than despair, you're freeing up space because you're lightening your load, and particles can move quicker. That generates energy, and that energy is just magical. You can make things happen with that energy. So that's when they say raise your vibration. So bring yourself out of the dense thickness, let your particles move around and have a dance, and create some energy that you can work with, because then you're naturally in flow with the universe. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, and probably to give people a little a physical picture of what that is. You can picture the difference between walking around in the air versus trying to swim in a pool of wet cement.
Yeah.
And there's much different movement that you are allowing yourself,
Yeah.
and your energy is no different.
That's right.
You put that thickness there, and there is no room for movement, or it is much harder movement,
Yeah.
and therefore it I lost the word I was looking for. It reduces the amount that you can move.
That's right. Yeah.
Because of how dense that is.
Yeah, being jam-packed like sardines on a train versus social distancing.
Yes.
Between you.
There you go. It's a 2020 reference. Perfect. Excellent. So how do you start to incorporate this into training for people to use as their for the advancement of their business?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of it involves me breaking people's conditioning, breaking their thought conditioning. The world that I work in, with all of this metaphysical stuff, astrology and tarot, it's all energy. Vibration, frequency, everything in the universe is made of that. So I've kind of got to reteach people to understand that, like, well, how does a planet affect me in astrology? Well, because it has a specific frequency and vibration that impacts on you. You know, so those big, these spheres in the sky are huge. I don't think people understand just how massive they are. You can fit 1,300 Earths into Jupiter. That's 1,300 Earths. Anyway, so it always blows my mind. I'll never stop being amazed by this stuff.
Yeah.
But we have to reteach people to think a different way. Think in terms of expanse. Think in terms of just how big things are and how small we are. Only small as in scale. But what we're capable of doing as far as our energy is concerned is massive. So I reteach people those thought processes, how to look at this stuff being second nature. It is a part of our life, and teaching them how energy works too. You can rub it the wrong way, you can block it, or you can flow with it. Then we look at what's going on in their life, and simple things like if you're hitting a roadblock, there's a reason for that. The universe is trying to show you, stop going down that road. It's not a pathway for you. Deviate and try something else. You know, red flags are great symbols for us, signs and symbols. Nature, using nature as signs and symbols as well. Animals, songs. I wake up every morning with a new song in my head because that's how my spirit team communicate with me. Now, there's something about that song. It's the lyric, it's the chorus, or it's the band, or it's something to do with it. The movie soundtrack that it was on. And I look at that and investigate that and go, okay, there's the message. So it's being able to read those messages too, as far as energy flow in life. And we compare that to what's going on in the person's life. And we work with, is it a go? Is it not a go? Is it a path? Is it not a path? It's not. Let's deviate. Let's see something else. Tapping into a person's passion and drive. You would be amazed, Dave, at how many people do not know what their passion is. I ask all of my clients, and I think I will get 1 in 15 that can answer with a strong answer and go, I'm passionate about A, B, C, D. Mm-hmm. People say I'm passionate about my kids. I'm like, no, that's not passionate. That's a role. You're a parent. You have to be passionate about your kids, you know. This is what lights you up inside. This is what puts fire in your belly. That kind of passion. So we work with those, all of those, plus a few more as well to get people in flow and back to their core. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you talk about passion. I think people sometimes can misconstrue that. And probably you can blame social media for a lot of that, where people have been told to, if you find your passion, you'll never have to work a day in your life. You'll have, you're going to find what makes you all this money and blah, blah. Your passion may have nothing to do with your vocation or your occupation. It can be completely separate. And I think that's been confused through social media, where they're going to tell you that, if whatever your passion is, I'm trying to think of something ridiculous, but, that if your passion is stacking paper nice and neatly, that's it. You found your passion, and now you're going to make millions of dollars stacking paper neatly.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. And again, being open to the signs that the universe gives us, and being open to receive those signs. I have told a few people this, a couple of people on the podcast, but as more people listen, they'll learn more things about me. So, for you, it's music that talks to you, that you wake up, whether it's birds, whatever it is that give you your messages. For me, it's the wind,
Right.
the sound of the wind. And this started when I quit drinking. The wind delivered a very, very powerful message to me. It was after I had quit drinking. A couple of months later, I was still making some. I was a dry drunk, they call it. so still, I wasn't drinking, but I was still had some of the stupid behaviors of an alcoholic, and the message delivered through the wind to me on an extremely still night. And the wind delivered a message to me, and that I still listen to that wind, and listen to what when I have big decisions to make, or something that I need to change at work or in my life. That's what I do. I sit and I listen to the wind and ask for advice. And that's one of those things that if you're not open to that,
Yeah.
that's the thing that people listen and go, wow, Dave Foy's a wacko. But because they're not open to those things.
Right.
But if you are, then you totally get that, and you understand those.
Yeah, absolutely. That is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. And if they think that whoever thinks that you're a wacko because of that, then I think that they've got a couple of million Indigenous people around the world that they have to answer to, because this is working on shamanism. They listen to nature, clouds, wind, sun, rain, earthquakes, whatever the case may be. That's nature's way of communicating with you. So I think you are onto something very powerful there. Listening to the wind, that is beautiful. And it is very much, our Indigenous people are so in touch with the earth, it's not funny. And I think that people should listen to that kind of thing more, and tap into that and find out what that symbology means for them. I think that's great, Dave. I really love that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And certainly there's people who will say they don't believe in any of that, but those are also the same people that will go, yeah, I just had a gut feeling about that guy. I just had a gut feeling that wasn't going to work out. And so, what do you think that is? Do you think your gut really told you something? That's all that energy and things that are working to help your intuition there.
Exactly, that's right. And, getting back to, and this kind of ties in nicely with your point that you made about social media confusing people, particularly with passion. Passion, it doesn't mean that if you find your passion, you won't work a day in your life. That's rubbish. Passion takes sacrifice. You got to be prepared to sleepless nights, lose friendships, relationships for your passion. Just on that topic, no, it is not rainbows and roses and kittens and that kind of stuff. It's hard work,
Right.
But moving forward to the confusion and people, that not believing that, and then say, I had a gut feeling about it, and they're not even registering the language that we're using, which is also very powerful. Marvin Oka, his surname is O-K-A. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Oka talks about the three brains. We've got the brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain. And this is not just, hocus pocus dribble. Science says if it has neurons, if it can take on energy, information, store information, react to that information and change its behavior, it's a brain. Your heart does that, as does your gut. So when we say things like, my heart just wasn't in it, oh, I couldn't speak properly, my stomach was in knots, let me digest your ideas. All of these phrases and statements have real deep-seated meaning, and people need to be more aware of what's coming out of their mouth.
Right.
And really listen to that and be aware of that and click onto that, because the same people, like you say, snowballing on that point, that don't believe in this kind of stuff but then say, I had a gut feeling, that's contradictory. It's a little,
right.
Yeah.
And there are some people who will tell you that the best business book in the world is Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and on one hand they'll tell you that, and on the other hand they'll tell you that they don't believe in this other kind of stuff. And yet if they actually understood the messages that he was portraying, that is the things that he was talking about. There wasn't a whole lot of business advice in Think and Grow Rich. Right. It's in the title of the book if you pay attention.
Right. Yeah. Yes, you're so right. I love that. Especially hearing Bob Proctor talk as well.
Yeah.
It's the same situation. They're not giving you corporate fact figure business knowledge. They're talking about energy and how to work with energy here. And on that, like, I would never ever promote that there is a one way be all and end all to do anything. There is pieces of the puzzle hidden in every single thing. So what I do, the work I do, is only one part of the puzzle. It's not the complete, so there is that earthbound stuff, the practical side that you have to undertake and employ. You do have to take action, but realize that the spirit and energy and manifestation and metaphysics and all of that kind of stuff is real too, and another part of it. So if you want to fire on all four cylinders, I take it back to my statement, you've got to be open to the possibility of everything.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that takes us right back around in a great place to step off. This was an awesome discussion. I could sit here and talk about this for a couple hours, but I'm not so sure everybody would listen.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I thank you very much for spending some time with us. This was an awesome discussion, some enlightening points. Where can they find you? And I'll put all this in the show notes for them also. But where can people find you?
Yeah, no, great. Thank you. I am not a huge social media person, and I keep it that way for a reason. But you will find me on LinkedIn, just as you found me. Yep. You will find me on Instagram, because I do enjoy Instagram. It's, it's quick, it's easy, and it's fun. You will also find me on YouTube. I have a channel on YouTube of which I've posted a number of videos now and a whole array of stuff. And it's under Rick-Michael, surname King. You'll be able to plastered everywhere, so you'll be able to find me everywhere just based on that name. But and my website as well, if you just want to have a look at, there's not a whole lot of information there. It's basically kind of like splash pages. Rick M. King, so the M for Michael, Rick M. King, all one word, .com.
All right. We will get all that tied up in the show notes for people to be able to reach back out and find you and connect with you and see if they can go a little deeper on some of this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I love the depth.
All right. Rick, this is an awesome conversation. I greatly appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun, and it's great to, be able to talk openly with this kind of stuff, and especially with people who get it, such as yourself. Like, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it was awesome. All right, everybody. That was an episode that you're not used to on the Fixed Ops Mastermind podcast. I know we have had some times where we talked about some manifesting, talked about some other things. We had David Meltzer on the show, who is certainly a believer in this type of stuff, and we went a little bit deeper this time into a little more of the spiritual side and the energy side of the world. And I encourage you all to embrace that. Get out, find out a little bit more about it, learn some more about it, experience it some more, and as we talked about, open yourself up to those possibilities. I will hook up in the show notes to how you can reach out to connect with him. And as always, please, if you have not, go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review to help keep us rising in the charts. And we greatly appreciate all of you listening. And we will talk to you next time. Another information-packed session of the Fixed Ops Mastermind podcast is in the books. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your support. Remember to download Fixed Ops Mastermind podcast on your favorite podcast app and to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. We thank again our sponsors, Dynatron Software and Traver Connect. Make sure you guys visit them. They've got some incredible products to help your dealership excel. Until next time, thanks for joining us.